Today, former President Jimmy Carter was honored with a state funeral at the National Cathedral. Family, friends, and several high-profile guests, including every living former president and several former vice presidents, came together to pay their respects. 2 posthumous eulogies were also delivered. The sons of Carter's late Vice President, Walter Mondale, and his White House predecessor, Gerald Ford, both reading speeches their fathers wrote before they died.
Carter and I were rivals, but for the many wonderful years that followed, friendship bonded us.
I miss him, but I take solace in knowing that he and his beloved Rosalind are reunited again.
After today's funeral, Carter's remains were returned to Plains, Georgia, where he will be buried beside his wife, Rosalind, who he was married to for more than 77 years. Fox 2's Patrick Clark got to spend some time with former President Carter and former First Lady Rosalind Carter a few years ago. It was part of his presidential library special, where he got up close to the Carter family and way of life in Plains, Georgia. And Patrick joins us now with more on the plain-spoken man from the Peach State.
Yeah,
Patrick.
That's right, Mandy. An incredible individual. On my presidential library, museums, and more travels, I had the chance to see the Carter Presidential Center in Atlanta, Georgia, and get a behind-the-scenes look at the former president's history. But it was my trip to Plains during their annual Peanut Festival that I got to spend some time with the president, his family, and friends in the place he called home. And it was clear to see how much of Plains was a part of this man's life and how he lived his. For most of his life, James Earl Carter Jr. called Plains, Georgia home, a small town, not unlike the ones I grew up in. This is where he lived, outside of when he was in the Navy, living on base or at sea. There were some years in Atlanta when he was governor, and the 4 years he lived at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
You consider everybody the same in the eyes of God. And that's something we still have a hard time accepting. If we're white, we think we're a little better than African Americans. Or if we're a man, we think we're a little better than women. Now sometimes women think we're a little better than men. But the Bible teaches, and Jesus taught, that all of us are the same.
He was always, as he called himself, a peanut farmer from Plains. The soil here is built for peanut farming. But the Southern charm was evident in this one-block town. His hometown embraced him and Rosalind, and they it. Participating in the annual Peanut Festival, signing copies of his many books, taking part in a Sunday tradition, his Bible study at Maranatha Baptist Church. People came from all over just to be near the man, at that time 93 years of age.
And if you feel that you don't live a life full of joy and happiness and peace and a purpose in life that's worthwhile and exciting and adventurous, it's your fault.
I have eaten peanuts my whole life, he has said. If you want to live a long life, eat peanuts. Peanuts and politics aside, after leaving office, he had a second full life as President Emeritus, leading by example, building homes with Habitat for Humanity, serving as a peace negotiator and diplomat, an ambassador of understanding, and a beacon to so many on how to live a good, honest life.
But starting today, we can also ask the same question. From the rest of my life, what kind of person do I want to be? And there again, who's it up to? Just you and me. Nobody else.
You and me. Well, when I met the 39th president and his wife, Rosalind, she asked what presidential libraries I'd been to so far. I rattled off a couple of names, including his in Atlanta, and they said, well, what have you liked the best? And I mentioned Reagan's because they had recently found a letter I wrote to him when I was a child, not thinking that Reagan was the man who beat Jimmy Carter. And Carter turned to me with a gleam in his eye, and he said, I have a submarine.
Yeah, there you go. He just was such a kind man. I mean, talk about a life of service. I mean, that was Jimmy Carter. Reminded me so much of my own grandfather. And you mentioned his military background. A lot of people people don't know that or don't realize it.
He graduated with distinction from the Naval Academy, something he held very near and dear to his heart, Lieutenant Carter, and to that day he got a chance to spend time on that nuclear submarine, the USS Jimmy Carter, which is a Seawolf class nuclear submarine in the Navy.
Well, what a kind, wonderful man, and so many beautiful tributes to him today. Patrick, what a wonderful opportunity for you to be able to meet the family up close and personal.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.